Hey, it's Sri here. In today's video, I'm going to talk you through how to save your marriage after there's been infidelity. And in particular, I'm going to talk you through a really important concept that is not only going to help you in your marriage, but in all areas of your life as well. So make sure you watch this entire video. Now, before we dive in, I know that, it's a new year, it's 2023, and this is the time where everyone wants to spend some time going through their New Year's resolutions and really taking their life to a whole new level. And in particular, if you're watching this video, I'm sure you're, really struggling in your marriage or in your relationship and are really wanting to take it forward, or maybe you've been on the receiving end of infidelity or going through a potential divorce. And so if you are going through that time, firstly, my heart goes out to you. I know how painful it is. And I want you to know that you're not alone. There are so many women in my program who have made extraordinary shifts in their life and, in their marriages and just within themselves as well. And I want you to also have the same experience. So if you do connect with my videos and you really want to get some help on this journey and something that's actually going to stand the test of time, then all you need to do is in the description section below, just click on that link where it says book a call with me. Just click on that link, choose a time that works for you, and then I'll contact you at that scheduled time just so I can learn a little bit more about where you're at now, where you want to get to, how we can bridge that gap in the shortest possible time. And let's really make 2023 an amazing year. And also make sure you hit that subscribe button below and click on that bell notification as well, so every week you get access to my latest videos where I talk you through a little bit more about how to save your marriage after infidelity, how to deal with separations, and how to heal from a lot of the pain that you may have been dealing with in your marriage as well over the last few years. Now, in this particular video, I really wanted to kind of do something that was going to set the tone for the year. At the start of the year, everyone's always really focused on setting some really amazing goals, and I think it's fantastic. But if you're watching this, the chances are your goals are going to be related to your marriage or your relationship, or potentially within yourself as well. And we want to make these shifts not just within the marriage, but in all areas of your life, because to me, when it comes to actually saving marriages, it really does require an internal shift. And, we don't want you to get involved in the marriage or have it being saved and then find yourself living with even more fear, because that's something that I do see a lot. People save their marriage, they get their husbands back, and then they're just waiting for that moment where he's just going to leave again, or they're just living in this constant state of fear. And that's never going to be a fun place for you. But what I wanted to do was talk about one really important concept. And I'll get to that in a minute. But firstly, what I observe is that when people are wanting to save their marriage or recover from infidelity and so on, I find that there are three areas that most individuals focus on when they initially come to me. And the first is that they'll want to focus on communication. Now, this is in no particular order, but they'll want to focus on communication. And so they're like, if I could just learn how to speak to my husband in a better way, then I just know that we've got something really amazing and we can turn this around really quickly. So that's the first thing. The second thing is they're trying to figure out, how can I get my husband to love me again? He may have said something like, look, I just don't know if I'm in love with you. I don't have those same feelings. So they think, look, we had this wonderful relationship before. All we need to do is, if I can just figure out how to get him to love me again, then everything's going to be wonderful again. And then thirdly, they're trying to figure out, what can I do here to ensure that he doesn't proceed with a divorce? So if I can just get him to realize that, the family and myself and all of those things that we've had over the years is something that's really important and something that's really valuable, we can turn this around. So those are generally the first three areas that are focused on whenever it comes to individuals that I speak to early on in the piece. Now, that's all very normal, right? We're in survival mode. We want to try and fix things very, very quickly. And I completely get that. And quite frankly, whenever I've had challenges in the past in relationships, I've generally felt the same experience and had exactly the same behaviors. So that's very normal. However, the focus tends to be on tangible things. We want to try and fix something that's within our control or our perceived control. If I can just get him to change, fantastic. If I can just learn how to communicate, great. If I can get him to just realize the importance of the family, everything will change. So it's always on what we call a physical level. And once again, very normal. That's what we expect to be focusing on in those times. But I really believe that there is another avenue. There's another avenue that will actually create shifts. Now, I will say, just before I move on to this point, the very last thing that most people want to focus on is themselves and their own healing. And especially for women, because women are so focused on, being mums and thinking about everyone else but themselves. The idea of wanting to work on yourself is, there often can be a little bit of guilt wrapped around that. But as a side point, I really want you to remember that if you don't work on yourself, then none of this stuff will actually shift. And that's not to say that you're to blame or you're the problem or anything like that. It's just, on some level, if we are having these experiences, the most important thing and the only thing that can really be controlled is your reaction to it and your emotional intensity within the situation as well. Now, just going back to the important point that I wanted to make. And what that is we live in a world that is made up of matter. Everything that exists, all of us as human beings, this table that's in front of me, all of these things are all made up of matter. And at the deepest level, we're all made up of energy. And energy vibrates. And due to this vibration, there is this law, which is called the law of radiation and attraction. Now, it was obviously publicized a lot in the movie The Secret. However, it kind of missed a number of really important points when it came to this law. But to simplify everything, if everything's made up of energy, then the principle that like attracts like becomes really important. So what that means is, let's say you're someone that is always focusing on a lot of really, really beautiful, loving thoughts on a regular basis, that you hold that energy of love regularly, then what will happen is your experiences are going to reflect how you're feeling on the inside, the energy that you're giving off on a regular basis. Now, here's the key point. It has to be consistent. It can't just be like one moment of love for a couple of minutes and then suddenly the rest of the day you're living in fear, because that's going to dominate your experience. However, if you're living in a place where you're fearful all the time, there's a lot of negativity regularly, then once again, your physical experience, the physical manifestation of your world is going to reflect how you feel on the inside. So it all comes down to, what energy are we vibrating? And the energy that we're vibrating is given off by the emotions that we feel and the thoughts that we think. Now, we have to understand this as a concept, because what happens is we're all sort of, a lot of the time, just floating around hoping that things work out. Occasionally we might go to church or go to the temple, whatever, and pray to God and hope that things work out. But in my life, and one thing I really understood once I started to embrace this concept, I realized that I actually could start to dictate what it is that I was drawing into my life. Now, this is kind of why I've said it before about the movie The Secret, and how it just kind of missed a couple of things, because just visualizing and thinking, you're going to drive off with a Lamborghini or something, doesn't mean that a Lamborghini is going to turn up on your doorstep. It's not a simple black and white scenario like that. There are many complexities to it. But you have to remember that, as a simple and a basic rule, whatever we put out is generally what we get back. But it has to be consistent over time. It can't just be one little fleeting moment here and there. There's got to be a level of consistency. Now, what this means is that when there are problems in your marriage, the thing that most people want to focus on is the physical and the practical. And as I've said many times, that's very normal, but it actually doesn't serve you. Yes, there are times when that is important. Yes, there are things that we need to do from time to time, certain conversations that we need to have, certain actions that we need to take. No doubt about that. But it all needs to come from the right place. And this is where intention is everything. We have to ask ourselves, what is our intention whenever it takes, or whenever it comes to any kind of action that we're engaging in? If our intention is always coming from fear, we're going to be vibrating at a lower level. If our intention is coming from love, then we're going to be operating at a higher level and vibrating at a higher level. Now, most people will tell you, oh look, yeah, no, I'm coming from love. I'm really coming from love. But if you look at their actions, it's not coming from love. You can tell there's a fear behind it. You have to keep that heart really open and ask yourself, is what I'm doing for the greater benefit of not only myself, but for all those concerned, and even just the greater good of the overall world and the planet and so on, depending on the kind of action you're engaging in. So often what happens though is that people, when they're trying to save their marriage, they have a deeper intention of, I'm afraid of being alone, so therefore I need my husband to come back so that I feel a sense of security. So you can see in that situation that fear is a big driver. However, if the intention is, I genuinely love this man, I know in my soul that he is the man for me, I believe in it 100%, and I'm prepared to do whatever it takes in order to grow and foster the situation, even if he's going through a midlife crisis, or if he's going through some other challenges that he's working through and processing in his own time. No matter what, I love this man unconditionally, and I will be there through thick and thin. Then you know that your intention is pure and it's coming from a higher vibrational level. And that's the most important thing. And so I wanted to sort of explain to you that if you can really embrace this concept of this, law of radiation and attraction, and recognize that the best way to work on saving your marriage, or healing from infidelity, or trying to attract someone new, whatever scenario it is, the best way to handle it is to actually go inward first, not look at the external. It's go inward. Now, the natural instinct in those moments is going to be to want to focus on the external, but you've got to remember, you've got to prevent yourself from getting tempted into that too much. You've got to spend most of the time saying, I've got to create the shifts within me. I need to raise my vibration within me. I need to come from a higher level completely and utterly, because as you raise your vibration, you're going to be operating at that higher level of consciousness. And when you're operating at that higher level of consciousness, you're going to get access to different thoughts, different emotions, and you'll take different actions, which also then lead to different results. Not only that, but by putting out that good energy, we're going to get good stuff back. Now, I wanted to keep this really simple for you, but I also wanted to make it practical. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a couple of steps that you need to take right now. And I want you to apply this. And this needs to be your way of approaching things over the next little while. Especially if you've set some goals around wanting to save your marriage or heal from infidelity, whatever the goal is. If you want to achieve those goals, you've got to do a couple of really important things. The first is that every morning and every night, what I want you to do is I want you to focus on what it is that you're actually wanting to achieve. So if that's wanting to save your marriage, if that's what you're, if you're wanting to heal from infidelity, whatever it is, I want you to focus on having that goal and feeling as if you have it right now. Not wanting it in the future, but having it right now. What is that experience like? What does it feel like? And I want you to really exaggerate the feelings and the emotions around it. That's really important. You've got to have that feeling as if you've got it right now. So that's the first point. The second step that I want you to take is I want you to focus on what we call detachment. Okay? What I mean by that is detachment all comes in the form of saying, this is the goal that I want. I want this goal. However, if I don't get it, I know that I'm going to be okay. See, the issue is that when we have a goal and we want it so badly, we're actually pushing it away because we're coming from fear and we don't have faith. And if we think about the universe or God, whatever it is, we get what we believe we can have, and that what we have faith internally that we can draw into our lives as well. And that's where most people miss the boat, is they get into this desperate state and they're almost begging to God, please just bail me out, help me, please, please, this is all I want. But a prayer often is just a demand, and demands don't necessarily get answered. What we really need to be doing is we need to come from a place of faith. if we have faith that we're going to be okay, if we have faith that the right outcome is going to occur for all concerned, then everything flows at that point. And you're not so emotionally charged by everything. Trust me, this is the way to achieve your goals. This is the way to maximize your chances of saving your marriage. This is the way to ensure that long term you're going to be okay. And I know that the temptation will be to work on the external, but please listen to me on this one. The internal is where all the shifts occur. I've seen it in my life, I've seen it in my clients' lives. People who have gone through the journey, people who have gone through my program know that that's where the transformation lies. And so really, really embrace it. Embrace these 2 steps to start with. These are some basic steps that you can engage in, twice a day. Visualize in the morning and in the evening. Feel as if you have it, and then place yourself in a state of detachment. In other words, if I get it, great. If I don't, I know that I'm going to be okay. And you can use that language as well. I trust in the universe to give me what is perfect for me on my journey. And when you get to that place, when you find that peace inside, everything will flow from there. Now, I appreciate that, this is a very new concept potentially for a number of you. Some of you may have heard it before and might be just a good refresher. Regardless of where you're at, there are many complexities to the whole process as well from time to time as you advance. And so what I really want to encourage you to do is, if you are in a place where you're stuck and you're needing some help, you're needing some guidance on the journey, and you're wanting to move forward and really take it to another level, really wanting to maximize your chances of saving your marriage, healing by using a range of different tools and techniques and strategies to help you to move forward and really have that joy and happiness that you truly want, then I'd love to be of service to you through my program, the Authentic Relationship System, which is an amazing program that I know you're going to get so much out of. We go deep. It's all about real transformation and long-term healing as well, not just sort of short-term, quick band-aid fix sort of work. It's long-term, and the level of support is world-class. You won't find anything better in terms of the volume of support that you'll get, as well as the quality of the support. And the other beauty of it is that you're going to connect with some amazing women in the community who have just got such beautiful hearts and will genuinely want to be your biggest cheerleaders as you go through this journey and go through the challenging circumstances that you're facing right now. So once again, just in the description section below, click on that link which says book a call with me. Just click on that link, choose a time that works for you, and then I'll contact you at that scheduled time, just so I can learn a little bit more about where you're at right now, where you want to get to, and how we can bridge that gap in the shortest possible time. I can't wait to be of service to you, and thank you so much for watching this video. If you've liked this video, make sure you hit that like button below. If you want to get more videos like this, hit that subscribe button, and do let me know what your biggest takeaway is from this video as well. I always love hearing the comments and questions, so make sure you write them below, and I'll respond to every single one of you. And if you want to learn how to get your husband to love you again, click this video above. And if you want to learn how to cope with mixed messages from your husband, click this video above. Thank you so much. Happy New Year. All the very best for 2023. And I'll talk to you in the very next video.